This video concludes our lecture series with the final part of the modern lecture video from unit number 6. We left off last time with the 1980s and we were ready for the 1990s. After Margaret Thatcher resigned, her successor was John Major, one of her cabinet ministers, who continued her conservative government. But the tide had changed, and Labour Party leader Tony Blair won the next election. Blair's friendly and informal personality was echoed in many changes in the royal family. The royal yacht, the Britannia, was sold. The Queen was requested to start paying taxes. The Queen herself had to pay for the rebuilding of a burned-out part of Windsor Castle. It had been tradition that the country pick up the tab on keeping up the royal residences. Also in 1999, the 800-year-old tradition of hereditary lords and ladies in the House of Lords ended. The places were now to be filled with elected members. The deaths of Princess Diana, Prince Charles's divorced wife, caused the royals to reach out to the people and try to practice better public relations. Prince Charles is seen by many as a royal who, like his mother, is somewhat out of touch with the common people, but they hope that Charles and Diana's son William has inherited more of his mother's outgoing and caring nature, and that he eventually will make a new type of monarch for the people. But William's ties to the royal family are very strong, and it is certain that most of his rule will be traditional, though perhaps the monarchy will be more limited in its scope. In the late 1990s, a big change occurred, a process known as devolution. It began taking place in the United Kingdom, with different areas of the United Kingdom actually having their own governments and running their own affairs. Wales and Scotland and Northern Ireland received more right to self-rule with their own parliaments, like Scotland, or national assemblies, like Wales and Northern Ireland. Cornwall is still waiting on the decision about its devolutionary process. A few important events shaped the early years of the 21st century for Britain. Prince Charles married his longtime girlfriend, Camilla Parker Bowles. In 2007, both Prince William and Prince Harry entered the military service. Conditions in Northern Ireland have gotten remarkably better, with the British forces leaving the territory, especially as the country united on the war on terror. Tony Blair, though, lost popularity with many British people. Though he was of the Labour Party, considered a more liberal side of the government, he supported President George Bush during the Iraq War, and the people lost favor with him for doing that. His party won the last election, but Blair stepped down in favor of Gordon Brown, one of his rivals within his own party. Over there in the election, they really elect the party, and then the party chooses who's going to be the prime minister. But the major economic shift for Britain, of course, was the European Union. Britain has been a member since the early days, but resisted some of the restrictions, such as converting its currency to the euro. Later on, toward the end of the 2000s, as we go on into 2010, David Cameron, conservative, took over from Gordon Brown as prime minister. Ties to the European Union, though, were not as strong as they once had been, and people started looking to the future in a way that would pull Britain out of the European Union. That takes us then to the 2010s. Thus far in the 2010s, the major political shift has been toward a more conservative government, led first by David Cameron and then his successor, Theresa May, who was elected from 2016 and then she stepped down in 2019. Prince William married his longtime girlfriend, Kate Middleton, and they have had 3 children so far, as of this recording, as royal heirs to the throne. The law of primogeniture has been mostly removed, which specified that the oldest male would inherit the throne. Now it will be the oldest child of a future monarch will inherit the throne. It's just that William's first child was a boy, so a boy will still inherit the throne. But if his son ends up having a girl first, then that girl will be able to take over one day if the monarchy continues. These decisions broke with 300 years of tradition, so it was a big deal to them. More recently, Theresa May lost favor with the people. She personally was more in favor with Britain staying in the European Union, but she was elected at a time when it was her primary mission given to her by Parliament to find ways to get Britain out of the European Union. That did not go over too well with her, but she tried her best to try to find agreements and ways that Britain could exit or Brexit the European Union. A lot of her suggestions, though, were rejected over and over and over again until it was thought that she was an ineffectual leader and not able to do it. But she really did her best. But then Boris Johnson becomes the prime minister, and now it is his chief responsibility to find ways for Britain to get out of the European Union.